it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. I'm no cap.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot.
Floyd Mayweather analyzed the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, stating that Davis is making his own choices and taking full responsibility for the risks to his career. Mayweather noted that he's offered guidance in the past, but if it's not followed, it's no longer his concern. He emphasized that the matchup is exciting for the sport, financially rewarding, and confirmed that he'll definitely be tuning in, especially since it's happening within his own company.
Within my company, within my team. Do it my way. Because if you mess up, I don't mind being a janitor to clean up the mess because I told you to do it a certain way. But if I tell you to do it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
The boxing world is ablaze with debate over the upcoming showdown between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Fans and analysts are sharply divided. Some dismiss the fight as a pure publicity stunt, while others see it as an opportunity for Tank to broaden his appeal beyond the traditional boxing scene. Amid the uproar, insiders from across the sport have weighed in, with some defending Davis's decision and others questioning what this matchup means for the future of boxing.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. What'd you say, number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean, that's against the game. Like, you know what I mean, you at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean, you owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups, you know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it, but it is kind of crazy.
Trainer Greg Hackett voices frustration over the backlash Gervonta Davis has faced, arguing that today's fans criticize fighters for almost everything without understanding their personal circumstances. Hackett stressed that if Davis decides to fight Jake Paul, that choice deserves respect. He pointed out that no one outside the ring truly understands what a fighter endures or what drives their career decisions. In his view, boxing fans should stop trying to dictate opponents and instead appreciate the dedication and discipline it takes to remain at the elite level. Hackett's comments echo a wider sentiment among trainers and athletes who believe social media has turned boxing criticism into a nonstop spectacle.
Like, he done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate, all right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You're like, why do I have to deal with all of this shit? People trying to keep money coming in, so they try to come up with bright ideas. At the same time, you got a lot of people trying to get shit from you.
Another major debate has erupted around sports analyst Max Kellerman, whose recent commentary has sparked strong backlash. Many in the boxing community accuse Kellerman of showing clear bias, particularly against fighters like Gervonta Davis. In several appearances, he downplayed Davis's accomplishments, claiming that Tank had never been a legitimate champion in his division or achieved anything truly remarkable. His remarks angered fellow analysts, who argue that Kellerman's take ignored Davis's impressive record and devastating knockout power. Critics contend that Kellerman's stance reflect a broader issue within boxing media, a tendency to undervalue rising stars while prioritizing hype-driven narratives. The controversy underscores how perception and favoritism still shape how fighters are viewed in the public eye.
Because Max Kellerman is full of nonsense. Max Kellerman claims that Gervonta Davis was never a champion, that we've never been a period of time when we looked at Gervonta Davis and said Gervonta Davis is the man in that weight class. Bunch of other ridiculousness pouring out of the pie hole of Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is one of the most biased, bought and paid for journalists that there is in the sport of boxing. And to have him back talking again on and giving his opinion again about the sport of boxing, I promise you is not a good thing. But let's analyze what he had to say about Gervonta, that Gervonta was not ever a champion. That is ridiculous because Gervonta Davis was a champion for the IBF at 130. He was a WBA super champion at 130. He is currently the reigning WBA champion at 135. And there is no other champion in the division for the WBA at the moment. He is the only WBA champion that there is at 135. He had a portion of a secondary. The title at the time he won it at 140 was a secondary title. So if you do not want to count that, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as everybody else counts that belt. But okay, fine. He's a 2-division world champion. That is more than zero, Max Kellerman. Now, looking at the idea that Gervonta Davis has never been the man in that division is absolutely ridiculous because Gervonta Davis has really been the man in that division the entire time that he's there.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi, known for his outspoken takes, didn't hold back when discussing potential matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. He sharply criticized the idea, claiming it undermines the sport's authenticity. In his view, knockouts only carry true significance when they occur between evenly matched, legitimate fighters. Malignaggi argued that manufactured bouts mislead casual audiences into believing they're watching real competition. Speaking with fellow analyst Chris Algieri, he acknowledged that while the event might entertain casual fans, seasoned followers can easily see through the spectacle. He warned that putting social media, driven fighters on the same stage as elite athletes blurs the line between sport and showmanship. His remarks struck a nerve, reflecting the growing divide between boxing as pure competition and boxing as entertainment.
Knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture.
You can't manufacture.
To a
Gervonta
degree,
Davis.
you can. To a degree. I mean,
Destroying
you can't. Yeah,
Frank Martin.
Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist,
champions.
If he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know, the way they did when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Okay, say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was to a degree manufactured.
No,
and
because
Teddy
he
Atlas
fought
100%,
everyone that was there. Everyone that was there at
Teddy
that time
Atlas,
fought.
Teddy Atlas will 100% agree with this because
with the expense of
Witherspoon. That were afraid of him.
With the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who had contract issues with King at the time. Except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when you gonna fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone.
In contrast to critics like Paulie Malignaggi, boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult offer a far more positive perspective after watching the press conference between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. He admitted that at first, he had concerns about Davis's size disadvantage, believing Jake might be too big and powerful. However, after observing Davis's composure and sharpness, his opinion shifted. Showbiz said that Davis carried himself like a true professional who fully understood the moment's significance. His poised confidence and calm demeanor under pressure convinced showbiz that Tank has the adaptability and skill to neutralize Jake's physical edge. He added that many people might be surprised, assuming Jake's power would overwhelm a smaller fighter, but Davis's technical precision and high fight IQ could ultimately make all the difference.
I beat the hell out of this kid. Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. No cap. I know Tank wasn't saying much, fumbling over his words, seems bashful, but I'm looking, right? And I'm just like, bro, he doesn't feel that Jake Paul is an issue. Even though he said it, he doesn't feel like he has to whoop his ass. He doesn't feel threatened. That's the word. He doesn't feel threatened, but he does feel out of his element. I'm gonna be honest, man. It sounds like, I know everybody's looking at this press conference and it's like, number one, I know what y'all saying. It's a clown show. It's not real. Tank was paid off. It's fake. Cause Tank, when he was talking about Jake and JB, even I was like, what is he talking about?
He laughing.
What are you talking about? What does he have to do with this?
Let anything, you know what I'm talking about. Let anything. No, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him.
So that I could understand if that's your concern. I am being extremely truthful with how I feel about this and how I'm reacting to this. My oldest son was like, I see the same thing, Dad, but you're going to get a weird response to your take.
Floyd Mayweather's name has resurfaced in the headlines, not as a promoter this time, but as a potential competitor. Reports indicate that Mayweather is exploring a possible fight with Mike Tyson, and many analysts see it as more than just another payday. They interpret the move as Floyd's way of reminding the world that he still commands the spotlight, even in retirement. With the buzz surrounding the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul matchup, Mayweather appears unwilling to let anyone, not even his protege, steal the show. Observers describe this as vintage Floyd, a man fueled by attention, competition, and legacy. As Davis and Paul prepare for their spectacle, Mayweather's rumored return underscores a deeper truth: the ongoing battle among boxing legends to remain relevant in a sport that's constantly evolving.
Celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about what is going to happen in that fight,